to order a regular Board of Aldermen meeting for Monday, November 21st. If I could get a roll call, please.
Alderman Motley. Here. Alderman Hudson.
Present.
Alderman Wilkins. Alderman Deckard.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Yep.
Good. If everyone could stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. That moves us to item 4, which will be comments from citizens. At this time, I would open up the floor for comments from citizens.
Linda Borman, 800 Jason Court. 2 questions. Do we know what the breakdown is on that new sidewalk out there as to the percentages as to what we pay versus what the state's given us?
The LTAP,
I don't know, whatever it is, that sidewalk program.
I believe it's 80/20.
Okay. Chris, before you had said that you would put me on that committee when you got ready to do something, and I would still like to be on there.
Okay.
And then the other question is are we still looking at going with our own trash collection in the next year or so?
We're doing a study of it,
Okay.
no question about it.
Because these people are doing a horrible job. They'll pick one out of 2 or 3 bags out of the trash can and leave the rest in there. And some people, they'll take wood and all their garden stuff and nothing in a bag, and the rest of us have to put all ours in a bag. And I don't get it. So, anyway.
That's the world today.
I know it is.
No, yeah, we are, and it's just prudent for us as a city, if we have any contracted services to always go back and, just like your insurance, I check my insurance every 3 years
Oh, yeah.
to make sure. So that's what we do on that, just to answer that we're taking a look at those and make sure it's still feasible to do it third party, or does it make more sense for us to do it ourselves?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, just checking.
yep. I had no emails. Did anyone else receive any emails at this time that need comment from citizens? Okay, with that, I'll close comments from citizens. That moves us to item 4, Williams Keeper's audit report here. And if you would go right ahead.
Oh.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Schultz. I'm an audit partner at Williams Keepers in Columbia. We recently completed our audit of the city's financial statements as of for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2022. So I'll just be going through our summary report this evening just to hit the highlights of the individual reports we issued as a result of our audit. So to be the first report in your blue book there. The first report is the audited financial statements. We issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements again this year. In our opinion, the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in conformity with the modified cash basis of accounting. That is the best opinion that you can get, and it means that the users of the city's financial statements can rely on them. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. We prepared them again this year. It is a common practice for us as independent auditors to do so, but they were reviewed and approved by management before they were issued. We used our judgment in determining how to audit the city. Again this year, we just focused our attention on areas where the financial statements could be misstated. So I know I've said this before, we don't look at every balance or every transaction, but we do enough work in order to be able to give that clean or unmodified opinion on the financial statements. Turning to page 2 of the summary report, there are some tables on this page that summarize the highlights from the governmental funds financial statements as of and for the years ended March 31st, 2022, with comparative information for 2021. There are some bullet points here listed on this page that just kind of talk about the changes in assets, fund balances, which is equity, revenues, expenditures. I'll let you guys read through that on your own if you're interested. On the next page, page 3, these tables summarize the highlights from the proprietary funds financial statements for the same periods. Those are essentially the city's utility funds. And we've got some bullet points on this page as well that discuss the changes between the 2 years. Something that was new this year, turning to page 4 of the summary report. The city had expenditures of federal awards exceeding $500,000. during this year, so it was required to have a single audit. Total expenditures were about $5.6 million, and there's a detail of those in a report called the Schedule of Expenditures of Federal Awards, and that's found in the back of the audit report. There are 2 additional reports that get issued as a result of a single audit. The first is on internal control and compliance related to financial reporting. It did have a significant deficiency related to financial reporting. I'll discuss that a little bit further when we get to the management letter section below. Really nothing new, but something that's included in that new report this year. And there is a report on internal control and compliance related to major federal programs that expressed an unmodified or clean opinion on compliance and no findings. So overall, very clean in the audit report. We also issued an auditor's communication letter. This really just includes comments about the audit process that we are required by our professional standards to communicate to the governing board of an auditee, and for the city, this board of aldermen serves that role. Really nothing new in the letter this year, so just a few highlights. We didn't note any transactions that we considered both unusual and significant, and there were no changes in accounting policies. During the year, we took a look at the estimates affecting the financial statements. We also evaluated the disclosures in the financial statements to make sure all of the required disclosures to support those financial statements are included. We didn't encounter any significant difficulties in dealing with management and performing our audit, and we had no disagreements with management on accounting or auditing issues. So all good things to report in that letter. We also issued a management letter this year as a result of our audit. Although the scope of our engagement wasn't directed towards giving an opinion on internal control, it was directed towards giving an opinion on the financial statements. We did consider internal control as a basis for designing our audit procedures. Our letter basically states that based on the limited procedures we performed on internal control, we did not identify any material weaknesses that were required to be reported in that letter. If you turn to page 5 of the summary report, we did identify a few significant deficiencies. Those are related to bank reconciliations, including the treasurer's reports, preparation of financial statements, and network access. So those were significant deficiencies or continuing recommendations. Again this year, they've been in that letter before. We also made a few other recommendations, really just for the city to consider, so best practice type recommendations. They don't rise to the level of material weakness or significant deficiency, but those are related to cash disbursements, interfund balances, and some fund accounting issues within the city's general ledger. And then this summary report concludes with one additional report that was new this year because the city started participating in MIRMA. We also performed a MIRMA audit. So we issued a report on the schedule of payroll reportable to MIRMA of the city for the year ended December 31st, 2021. So that's a calendar year end or a calendar year basis report separate from the city's fiscal year, and we issued an unmodified or clean opinion on that report as well. Are there any questions about this summary report specifically?
Just a real quick question. The report for MIRMA, was that an extensive time allotment that you guys had to do to do that report, or was that pretty easy?
It's not really extensive. I would say it probably takes us about a day, maybe a day and a half to get everything set up in the first year, is to get the
And
documentation and the
then
report
moving
set up.
forward, it's less, you've already set it up, you're just,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly. And we do that for most of our, really all of our municipal clients that
Okay.
participate in MIRMA, because they'll fine you, they'll penalize you $1,000 if you don't have that schedule audited by the end of the next calendar year. So just kind of tack that on with the financial statement audit. Good question. Okay, well, we appreciate the opportunity to perform the audit, and thank you for your time and going through the summary report tonight.
Thank you for doing the service, and we appreciate your feedback, and we'll take note of your recommendation.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Thanks.
That moves us now down to item 6, which would be Marlett and West report out to us based upon request for an updated current status of the job. Go ahead, Coach.
Good evening, Mayor. I've got a quick update. I'm going to break it into 4 parts because you have 4 contracts with 4 contractors. So we're going to start from 1 through 4. We haven't done that in a while, so I think that would be a good place to start. Part 1 is your pipelines. This is for wastewater. So you have a pipeline contractor. They are done as far as they can possibly go, except for tie-ins that cannot be done yet because the pump houses don't exist. So they've gone as far as they can go. There's still a little bit of pay requests out there, but they build pretty much what they can build and done what they can do until we get down to the last couple of feet and the last little tweaks to quantities up and down on that. That's in good shape, they've done a good job and moved on. Part two is gonna be your center pivots. Schmidt Irrigation holds that contract. They have struggled with schedule, as we've talked to before. They are telling us that they would like to complete by the end of the year. They're hoping, depending on weather, but that's what they've told us that they're trying to do. There is activity with them. They are actively working, continuing to build pivots. They're mainly erected, they're working now on the electrical, getting those pieces in and getting those started up. Part three is the one we've talked about the most the last year. That's gonna be your basins, your earthwork. And guys, feel free to jump in too if I missed something you wanna talk about. The earthwork piece, our contractor has indicated that he thinks Fisher Grading thinks that they're done. So we went out and did a punch list review on that and provided that to the city and the staff on the punch list of what the deficiencies are from our point of view from your contract. I think it was about a 3-pager there that we gave to them, and we've had at least 4 or 5 calls today with going over details with them, explaining the reasons for the deficiencies and getting those documented. Questions on part 3?
Are there any line items that are complete in your estimation?
Complete. There has to be at least 1 or 2 in there that are complete. Boy, do you have that handy? You can pull that up.
When I looked at it, I didn't see anything look complete, but that's why I asked the question, that's all.
You may be right. There's quite a few items there.
Some are partially complete, but
Partially, right. The test was satisfactory. And I know we were all anxious about the test, about it holding wastewater. Both of the tests have passed.
The DNR passed them at this point?
With us, DNR relies on our opinion for that. We pass it on to DNR that they're suitable for wastewater, and that's our call, so. That is a good sign. You have 2 basins there.
So there's been 2 line items that have been paid 100% to date. One of them is the removals and abandonments of the overland flow infrastructure, which was your existing structure that got demolished. And then the other one was the suction piping and intake apparatuses.
But,
Which is-
so my point is, those were already completed, they've been paid.
Correct, those are the
So-
only 2 that
So
have
the
been.
punch list
100%.
that we have now, the scope of work left to be done, none of those line items are complete or whole at this point.
They are not
Fair
complete.
statement.
There's deficiencies
Okay.
that keep those from being complete.
I just wanted, that's what I thought when I read through, I want to make sure I was, we don't see things.
So the suction line's been paid,
Yes,
100%?
yes.
How long has he had his report? You said you sent those to Fisher. Has he got back with you?
Yes, we submitted it this morning, and we've had at least 4 or 5 calls with him today as he's.
Positive calls or?
Yeah, I'd say mostly positive, just trying to understand why we thought, and we referred back to the documents. Everything's there just to point back to, so we've had to answer questions. So, there is no equipment on site right now, just a heads up for everybody, so, honestly, he thought he was probably done, and then we got to reviewing and indicated that he wasn't, so.
When did the equipment leave? When did the equipment finally leave?
I would say probably within the last 2 days.
You know, this week. Oh, yeah.
We were out there, when?
Thursday, it was still,
It was later, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday?
it was, I think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
No, it was Wednesday. We had
Last
dinner
week.
Thursday. Yes,
Yeah.
last week, Wednesday, everything was there. I would say possibly over the weekend, it left.
You're listing the earthwork as 85% complete, if I'm reading right. What's the deficiency? Is it because the slopes are steep, or?
Can you, turn that, let me just take a look at that page there you got, so I can, yeah, I recognize that page. They've asked for 85%. We do not, no, we recommend, well, we don't recommend anything at this time. We were trying to review that for completeness. What's wrong with the basins, you're asking? Let's point back to the punch list on that. Blake's got the 3-page punch list that you all have in your packet. The reason why that's not complete in our mind.
Yeah, and there's, the lower and then the upper basins, emergency spillways, they're supposed to be trapezoidal, and they're just kind of rectangular. There's no slope, and that affects your flow. And there's no TRM mat on those side slopes, so those side slopes would erode over time. Also, this is a different line item, but the TRM is not properly installed on what they submitted, and what they actually installed is two different things, which is incorrect. As far as earthwork, and then surface restoration is also incorporated into that earthwork line item.
That was the biggest piece, was the surface restoration. So like Blake said, the mat was put down, but the mat, they submitted a mat, we approved it, and a different product showed up on site. So we don't suggest that that was completed at all, because it's a temporary mat, and the mat we spec will be there forever. It's for the long haul. It's a permanent solution. It doesn't just go away like straw. So we called those things out so that now they have a copy. You guys have a copy. So that's where we're at.
Hey Gary, just looking through this, I think the mats and everything, obviously an issue. My biggest catch on this is the compaction test when they backfill the berms. We cannot shy away from making, and I know for a fact that those did not get tested.
No.
They had it backfilled within half a day. That's where we need to be, worrying about is the berms on that reservoir. So we absolutely have to make sure that's done properly.
Absolutely, yeah, that's on the punch list.
Logical method would be to put the pipes in as you go up. As you're building earthwork, you put pipes in and you work up. In this case, the basins were built and cut into to put pipes back in. And what we asked for is that be tested on the way back up, just like it was the first time. We don't have documentation of that. We know it didn't happen, so it's on the punch list to remove that and go ahead and recompact it with proof.
Be reworked,
Be reworked.
and made proper.
Done right.
So that's another reason the 85 is there. My biggest concern on it, if I were to want to put that in service today, is the telescoping valve was not put in according to plans and specifications. And that is something that I'm not allowed the project to function without it. It's not a huge dollar amount, but it will not function without that. It's in there, but it was installed improperly.
What's the plan going forward with the seeding and mulching? Is there was no topsoil put down, no straw put down?
Right. So we're reporting to you that they didn't do it properly. So that's the discussion that we need to have then. But they did, our suggestion is don't pay that because they didn't do it according to plans and specs. They didn't prepare a seed bed. They didn't put the topsoil down. So
So
that's,
is that part of the 15%?
yes, it is.
It's part of the punch list of work to be
It's part of
done,
the punch
to be
list of work to
complete,
be done.
right?
It's part of punch list of work to be done. So you're not voting to pay for that or anything else tonight. So.
So how long time frame? Because weather's gonna start being an issue. So, I mean, we could be sitting on this 4 or 5 months.
He proposed to go over the punch list. Chris Fisher did propose to go over the punch list next week sometime.
Next week,
Yeah, to ensure what this is all clicked up. Now, is that gonna happen though?
and you are gonna be on top of him, making sure.
We're gonna meet with him, I wish we could get people out of bed, we've been frustrated with people across the board on not getting up out of bed and going to our projects. And I'm continually trying to remind and ask questions, and the next one I'm gonna tell you about is, I have an unanswered question from still. So I'm frustrated with that, just like you guys are. What we're gonna do is report to you where things stand and where they don't stand. And then let you guys take it from there. We're here to give you advice as much as we can. It wasn't done properly. You haven't paid for it either. So let's match that up.
So the point is, it's not at a finished point.
Not like a long way from being finished.
Right, so I mean, to answer, I mean, you guys haven't been able to actually issue an engineer's certification of project completion then, correct?
We have not.
Okay.
That's what-
It's not functional either, so.
Just to clarify.
Can I ask a question? Since they trace,
No, you can't.
Not probably.
No. Can't ask questions on this. You're welcome to next week, next meeting, we can't have it there's not gonna be an open discussion about it tonight. Sorry, but we just can't.
So that's part 3. We will meet with them, and then we'll report back to the staff, Matt, and just where things are, and continue to report back to you all, and continue to point to the documents. Part 4, I asked for an update last week on schedule, did not get it. Again, we talk about asking and not getting. I don't have an update on schedule. I can point to the contract which says that's to be done in February. So the only thing I can do tonight, part 4 is your pump houses. Those have to be done in February. I asked for an update because it has been a little while, and I thought the council might want to have a fresh schedule. Didn't get it. Okay, so right now we're falling back on February. The equipment is supposed to be here in December. So that's the latest.
We did the extension on because they had a delay.
Yeah, that's for the pumps and stuff.
That's for the pumps and stuff, the supply
Controls,
chain.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not that it's, devastating not to have an update, but I just thought sometimes it goes by, let's get an update for you all, just to have fresh information a week out. I don't have it, so February is where we're still at. So that's all 4 parts for you.
If they're getting those from Asia, they should be on a boat by now based on average transit times and rail time and all that. They should be able to give us an idea if they've shipped or not.
They should be.
Maybe not on the boat yet, but would be in the next couple of days.
So right now, for us, there's not a ton of activity. There's just not a lot. Fisher's work, had just, we'll probably meet with them next week, and then Schmidt Irrigation, we'll have a little bit of interaction there. There's just not a lot going on. So, it'll get hot and heavy when the pump houses start building. So. Any questions from the alderman? Mayor? Any different information you'd like to hear from us? Different formats, different content that you'd like to see?
No, I think that you gave us an update and went through the project and where the project stands. We needed to know that. We need to know what work has to be done and what does that look like in dollars based upon what's left in the contract of dollars. And you said you feel that this punch list can be done for the monies that are left, is what I understand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not extremely worried about that at this point, but more so is getting to the point that the work gets finished one way or another, so.
It'd be nice in our next meeting if you could come back and give us an update on your communications with the contractor. So when's our next meeting? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Is that, surely unless he finishes it next week.
No problem, I'll be back.
If he gets it finished next week, I'll bring cupcakes,
I can do that, yeah.
I mean, I can't even make cupcakes, but.
I'm more of a shrimp boiler or something like that, but. I can give an update on that. If I don't hear anything, I'll report that as well, just probably to Matt Nelson.
And for him to finish this, he would have to bring equipment back, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
Keep the gate open. Keep the gate open.
I have not heard any objections to the punch list at this point, just questions. So, that's a good note to
So
see.
you would call it productive conversations with them today? Or
He drove.
Just understanding, just more, clarify this, what does that mean? Yeah. Nothing, no protesting anything yet.
Yeah,
So,
he tried to work his way on the TRM, the turf reinforcement mat, and just say putting it down on the bottom, but we obviously didn't have any of that, so. It's just another one of his deals, so.
Your estimation, how many days would it take them to complete this with decent weather?
This time next year?
With equipment or without equipment?
there's not a lot of work there, but there's a lot, numerous items. I think if somebody they were ambitious, they could get done in 30 days. But there's a lot of little things.
He's probably going to get 30 days to work.
Well, there's different things. There's some welding over here, and then there's some seating over here, and then there's some earthwork. There's just a lot of little things that you might touch, to dress up. Like that telescoping valve, there's gonna be some fabrication involved with that. some drilling, some epoxying, and you gotta turn over and add this, an excavator, you know, so there's just different tools, there's different people involved for somebody to pull that together.
But the little things make big differences in the finish of the job, if they're not done.
They're non-negotiable.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have to have them. We had reasons for everything that we asked for, and we're not moving off of that, so.
Now the epoxy, you're gonna make sure it's above freezing, correct? Before he does all that?
All right, there's a structure with steps on it, so you go down the structure, and there's steps on, they weren't lined up, so the pieces that were stacked, the rings were not stacked to work, because it comes from the precaster with the steps in it. So you have two choices, to dig it up and turn it, set it back down, or to drill in new steps.
Like a manhole.
Preference-wise, I would rather not have that fabricated.
Yeah.
It's a long fall down if it's not done properly. But if you guys wanna test it out the first go-round, then we'll approve it, but, I mean,
Like we
it's a,
said, it's a square box.
yeah, I mean, it's
It's
a deep
just a
pit,
shape.
so we can't, afford to,
It ought to be dug up and turned.
and cheapen that up. I don't want them, if somebody falls and hits those pipes down there, it's
Yeah.
it's
The
gonna
more
be.
you all
safety
talk, the
concern.
worse it gets.
Huh?
The more you all are talking, the worse this situation gets, you know, so.
I have nothing further. Anybody else? Thank you for your report. I thought it met what we were asking for you, so thank you for getting it
You're
done.
welcome, we'll keep.
Stay on top of it.
Yes, we
Keep
will.
us informed, that's, yeah.
We will. You'll get a running list of these punch list items and how the progress is going, so.
Give me a heads up, I gotta get cupcakes too. Give me a couple days on that, okay?
All right. I'll let you know. See you all.
Have a good night, guys.
See you, Matt.
Have a good night.
Thank you. All right. That moves us to item 7, consent agenda. A through H, which is in reference to all the meeting minutes. B, Public Works Utility Committee, meeting minutes. C, General Government and Public Safety Committee, meeting minutes. D, Planning and Zoning minutes. E, Collectors Report. F, the Treasurer's Report. G, the activity reports. And H, the financial reports. So, entertain a motion for all to be approved, or motion.
I move that we approve all consent agendas A through H.
A second motion.
Have a first and a second to approve the consent agenda, items A through H. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. That moves us to item 8. Accounts payable of $1,250, equaling a total of $750,653.76.
I move that we approve the accounts payable of $1,250 for a total of $750,653.76.
Second.
Have a first and a second to approve the accounts payable over $250 for a total of $750,653.76. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. That moves us into our action agenda. Do we have, what do we have for finance, you think? Same for legal, and 10? Okay. 11 permits and licensing, same, none, I take it. Under the agenda. And 12 purchasing. Okay. Do we have any old business? We have no old business. That would move us to, should be new business, I think, yep, it's on the my sheet. I have one that I would bring up. We got in the new skid steer for the electric department, and we need to, I would entertain a motion to be able to take the old skid loader and making it surplus equipment, so we could put it up for sale on purple.
The whole wave option.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
Have first and second to put the old skid loader up on Purple Wave. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So be it with that. I have nothing to report out at this time. So that moves us to item 15, City Administrator.
Got my report in here. Been a lot of meetings in October, wrapping up and starting new development. Lots of meetings. I didn't get one on there. There's the local area emergency planning committee, and that at joint communications. That was interesting. I've never been a part of something like that, so learned a lot there. Also met with MIRMA in October to discuss the rates and moving forward on that. So, just really busy month.
Any questions for our City Administrator? If not, then I would move that to item 16, which would be our City Attorney, Sydney.
Quick update, Missouri Municipal League will start getting in the pre-filed bills for the legislative session for 2023. That pre-filing starts December 1st, so it's really coming up pretty quickly. Missouri Municipal League will put together bills of interest that the city might want to take a look at, potentially, issue a position on or something. So as soon as that comes out, we actually will probably get that in 2 weeks. So there's already been some pieces of legislation on likely interest. Municipalities, one of them is the local business license issue for home-based businesses that created quite just a vague controversy last year. There should be some clarification on that coming down. So as soon as we get that, I'll share it with the board for you guys to take a look at and see if there's anything you want to have an opinion on, that sort of thing. So that's about it. That's for me.
Good. That moves us to item 17, the City Clerk.
Yeah, it's been a busy month, like she said. Last week, we were asked to host the Central Division City Clerks meeting, luncheon here. Turnout was a little lower just due to a lot of scheduling conflicts this time of month, but it's a really good resource, good organization, a lot of great training for me that I'm excited to take advantage of, so I appreciate that. Wrapped up the MIRMA health insurance open enrollment process. MIRMA, for our benefited employees, is offering a wellness screening first of December, so that's a great opportunity for great benefit for our employees that they offer blood screening, tests for lots of things, so that's great. Upcoming in December 6th is the election. Opening dates to file, so we have mayor, we have aldermen 1, 2, 3 wards, and city collector positions that will be fine. So filing opens December the 6th and closes on December the 27th. Very quick. More to come on that.
It's short in the window, right?
Notices in the newspaper and such.
It is.
By 1 month, you literally get 2.5 weeks this year. So, and that's a legislative change that's also going to be looked at because that's an extraordinarily short window, but that's just what the Secretary of State, which controls it, put out. So you have 2.5 weeks. They literally took a month away. So be on notice, fireside guard, right? Make sure that people know that it's a very short window this year.
I put the notice in today. Anyway, just a reminder for those who have positions open. Just another quick thing, employee Christmas party, December the 9th. Be there. Be square. That's all I got, thank you.
Thank you. That moves us to item 18, entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Both bullets, both 1 and 2.
Yes.
I move that we go into closed session, and during the meeting, the Board of Aldermen may elect to go to closed session, hold a closed vote, and the purpose of such closed session and closed vote shall be as provided for under section 6100211 of the revised statutes of Missouri for legal actions, causes of actions, or litigation involving public governmental body, and any confidential or privileged communications between public governmental body and its representatives and its attorneys, and two, is provided for under section 6100213 of the revised statutes of Missouri for hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of a particular employee by a public governmental body.
Second.
Have a first and second to go into closed session. All in favor?
Roll call.
Yeah, okay, and then it's roll call. Roll call vote.
Alderman Motley? Yes. Alderman Hudson?
Yes.
Alderman Decker?
Yes.
Alderman Rogers?
Four.
Alderman Magley?
Yeah.
We will resign into closed session and be back as complete. We went into closed session and, no votes were taken. We had a motion to, and a second to come back into open session, and was by roll call vote, passed. So we're back into open session. That moves us to, as may arise. Does anybody have
I
anything?
did forget, I did have a comment from a citizen.
Okay.
Too late.
One.
You're fired.
They asked, where do we stand on the guard building?
Actually had that too, sorry.
I get a lot. It's to the point that the contractor's been selected.
Am I allowed to speak, or
Yeah, you
should I
can.
just
You can
let
bring
you
it.
speak?
You can bring up to speed on that. Bring us up to speed where we're at.
We've hired a contractor, and right now the question is, the biggest thing, the biggest challenge is getting the computers out of building A into temporary office B in such a way as the fireside guard does not miss an issue. And I apologize to the city if that causes a problem. I'm doing everything I can, but I am not, you can put this on the record, I am not going to be the only editor in history of the newspaper that this is an issue of fireside guard.
Oh, I just got to ask, where we
Con-
stand.
Contractor has been hired. We have,
That was a big issue, getting
And
that built
as-
in center.
as your staff should be able to tell you, there are engineering plans on file with the city and the county for the actual repair of the building, which will be repaired. But to clarify, the fireside guard has nothing to do with the other object blocking that alley. I'm not sure.
What other,
The dumpster,
Yeah,
it'll be removed when the work is ready to be started.
what's the dumpster there for?
I don't know.
I believe that it was,
It has nothing to do with us.
Was it from the people that were redoing the bar?
No, it's probably from, Friendship Christian Church.
I-
I'd
I-
say.
No,
thinking
the people redoing the bar have their own dumpsters.
yeah,
Right.
it
The
was
other alley.
Friendship. I believe it was Friendship. I think
Okay.
Ted Angel had written that one. But it's going, as soon as you guys are ready to rock and roll, it's leaving.
My concern is to ensure that the city of Centralia, Sturgeon, and Hallsville continue to have a regular weekly newspaper.
Well, we can appreciate that. So, I'm just glad we have a contractor in place and it looks like it's moving forward and we can get to it, so.
I believe Darren said that he could have it going in about 2 weeks.
The
That's
contractor
right.
is in place, the
What
computers,
time will start in 2 weeks?
Hmm?
Start time for that will be in 2 weeks?
As long as they're ready in 2 weeks.
So that's giving them time
I've
to
got to get
locate
those-
and find.
I've gotta get those computers moved, and they gotta hook up,
Right.
because I'm afraid, I wish it were otherwise, but I am willing to work while people are knocking down bricks around me. But if they actually end up exposing the interior of the building to elements, that's not good for computers.
You have a temporary office, Linda?
Yes, I do.
What signed up? I missed it.
Temporary office.
Temporary office.
Gotcha, good, good for you. Thank you.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
Have a first, second to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. All it passes, we're adjourned, thank you, folks.